Hello and welcome to this month's webinar. Looks like we have a few new faces here. So welcome. If you have not attended one of these webinars before, we do go over some high level and technical kind of things. If you want, use the chat, use the question and answer tool. I have Masha with me. She's going to be monitoring that. Really like some participation throughout this. I will be going through a few different topics on email marketing, some ideas on how to build your list, how to create some more engaging content for newsletters, how to add some personalization, and also AI, because we can't ignore AI. AI is here, probably here to stay, and it can be used for helping you with your email marketing and growing your list and creating emails as well. Then we're going to be looking at measuring success. How do you know that you're successful in your email marketing, what you should be monitoring and how you can monitor those items? And then also finally looking at the optimizing campaigns, what to test, how to test, all that good stuff. So let's jump in. And first, before we begin, I always like to give a quick overview of, who am I, why listen to me, pretty much. My name is Matt Post. I'm the co-founder of SEM Dynamics. We are an online marketing firm. We help businesses grow. We help them reach their ideal clients and convert those leads and visitors out on the internet to be customers of theirs. So I've been building websites since '96. That's a little over 25 years. And also been marketing websites since '97. Started with search marketing and have gone down quite the marketing rabbit hole ever since. So I've been at this for a while. We've been Google Hackathon finalists. So we've been invited over to Google to participate in a competition where we were finalists. And I also hold 4 certifications in conversion rate optimization. That is the art of how to get people to say yes to your offer over the internet. And finally, over the last 6 years, I've kind of dedicated myself and focusing on helping small to medium-sized businesses really break through online and help them, see through the mystery that is internet marketing. So that's what I do. Let's jump right in here though, and let's look at first, real high level, why emails? Why is email marketing so important? And the number one reason is so you can stop giving money to Google, so you can stop giving money to Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram and these other companies. When you grow a large enough list, you have much more control over your costs. And it's also less risk. You own the list. You own your database, if you will. And that gives you a significant leverage in any industry. You can create recurring revenue. Once your list becomes large enough, you now have enough people that you can communicate with on the regular basis. So when you have a new offering, new service, new product, or even when you want to collaborate with another company, you can do so and make additional revenue. It also, because of this, revenue becomes predictable, right? If you know that a list of 1,000 people or whatever the size can earn you a certain amount of money, that revenue becomes predictable over a long period of time. This increases the valuation of your company. When you sell a business, when you somehow, everybody's going to eventually have an exit strategy for a business. And the size of an email communication list will increase the value of your business. It is an asset that people will look at when going into business acquisition. That's why email is so important. And I'll include with email SMS text messaging. If you get people's text message cell phone numbers and you can communicate similarly, you have a lot of the same value that you're going to get from email marketing. So to be able to take advantage of the email marketing, we need to first look at how you can build a list. So when building your list, we need to get a little creative because newsletters, they've been around for a while. Probably for, 20, 25 years, quite a while. A few pointers here on how to build your list would be, new lead and current clients. When you get leads in, if they opt in to receive email communications. Also, if you currently have a client list or even past clients, you can definitely build your list by including them. Caveat to that is make sure they know they're going to be added to a newsletter list. We don't want to be spamming people. We don't, quite frankly, we don't want to piss off your current clients or your past clients or new leads by sending them emails that they're not expecting. Now, next, if you have a brick and mortar, physical location, you can have signups in store. You can have them on your receipts. You can have different offers to sign up for newsletters. If you're a restaurant, they can get a 10% off their next order. Be creative, come up with an offer, and then also can get them back in the door to purchase from you again and get that repeat business. Again, email only offers. That's that 10% off if you join our newsletter list. There are ways to do this even if you don't have a physical location, and that's a great way to build your list. One point that's often overlooked is leveraging partnerships. Often we don't operate our businesses in a vacuum. If you are an insurance broker, then you have vendors, you have other non-competitive business relationships that you've built, and you should be collaborating with those individuals on how you can combine lists for specific promotions or specific communications where that each business can benefit from each other's lists. You can build this into a larger offering, think of a group offering, and go to multiple vendors who are not competing with each other and do this, where you can have your list and you can be using 3, 4, 5 other vendors to have a large promotion. You are now multiplying your lists by 4 or 5, and you can do online promotions, social media promotions to grow the list for a large marketing campaign. So again, like I said, we're going to go and sprinkle in AI throughout this. And for this purpose, don't get overwhelmed by these prompts. Some of these are going to be complicated. Again, don't worry, I will be emailing this to you. So if you want, use the chat, use the Q&A, whatever you want to. Go in the chat, type in prompts. If you type in prompts, we'll know that you want these prompts. We will send these to you later. So to begin with how we create our AI prompts is we want to designate variables, right? So company and then value equals SEM Dynamics. So a variable and a value. We do this top part in a prompt so that we don't have to keep retyping things over and over and over again. Later on, I can just say company. Later on, I can just say services. I don't have to retype everything all over again. It becomes very valuable later on. So to start, we want to say who our company is, who the target audience is, services, we do online marketing, yada, yada, yada. Newsletter purpose. The purpose of our newsletter is to educate business owners with simple ideas to help them market their business on the internet. Very high level there. Then we go into the actual prompt. We're going to use the framework of role, job, or job role, either however you want to articulate this. And then we're going to give some rules. So your role is that of an email marketing expert. Your job is to generate a comprehensive list of ideas to help company, there's that variable again, generate more newsletter subscribers by the target audience. Each idea must help the company and encourage the target audience to sign up for newsletters. When you put this in, you're going to get about, roughly 15 different ideas that are specific to your company. They're going to help your target audience. That's going to serve the purpose of your communication. So use this prompt. We'll mail it to you later on. And so again, we are looking at this framework. Here's your role. Here's the job. Here's the rules. That's a framework we're going to be continuing to use throughout as we discuss AI. Now that we have some creative ideas and we know how to grow our list and we're getting some people joining our newsletter, we need to look at crafting content, how to make engaging newsletters that kind of break through the noise, right? How many newsletters do we get all the time? And we need to find a way to break through and have your newsletter be the one that is read. So to do that, we need to look at the subject, the body, and the call to action. The first thing is going to be the subject line. That's what's going to get them to initially open up. And with each one of these, we need to be asking why, right? Why should I open your email instead of deleting it or skipping it? Because anybody here, everybody here knows that when you go into your emails, it's a chore. Your idea or your mental mindset is to come up with a reason of why can you delete this email and clear out your inbox so you're not bothered anymore. We've got to break through that. That's the mindset of everybody going into their emails. So we need to ask, why should I open this email instead of deleting it or skipping it? Look at the same thing with the body. Why should I read this once they open it? And, who are you? What's in it for me? The call to action. Why should I do X? Why should I do what you want instead of everything else I can possibly be doing with my life right now? We need to be asking and answering those questions when we're creating the emails. When you're generating a subject line, we want to look at some tips here. Hey, keep it simple, keep it short, keep it sweet, be clear, be concise. Optimize the first 20 characters. That's what people are going to read when they scan. That's very important to have those first 20 characters really drive some value home. Use sentence case. It's more conversational. It's easier to read. If you can, personalize it. Personalizations can take several forms from, using the name, time, the time of an event, a location. There's all these different ways to personalize an email. Brand recognition. Use brand recognition only when you have a strong brand. If you don't have a strong brand recognition you may not be adding the name of your company to the subject line. Something to test, something to think about. We'll get into that later on at the end of this when we get into the testing phase. And it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways, avoid spam. Avoid the word free, apply now, save, risk-free, all of those things that make you automatically look at an email and delete it. Don't do that. Think of what do people do and don't do when they send a personal communication. There's some studies to use like emojis and subject lines. Personally, I don't do that. Why? Because when I send an email to somebody, if it's personal, I've never added an emoji. I have yet to have a friend email me and add an emoji in the subject line. So I don't do it. I recommend that you don't do that as well. That kind of goes into the whole avoid spammy stuff. When we're looking at the body of your email, again, be clear, be concise, get to the point, right? That's the idea of the email. Let's kind of get in there, talk about what we need to talk about. Give credibility. Credibility can be that brand recognition, right? Start with your connection. Credibility and connection, there's a lot of similarities there. How do they know you? Why do they know you? Are they past client? Get to that connection right away. First couple of sentences. Hey, this is how we know each other, and I want to offer this. Right? That's going to get you a lot greater read rate in your emails. Use short paragraphs. Nobody reads walls of text. Don't think about your old English teacher who said, a paragraph needs to be at least 4 sentences long. No, 2 sentences. That's good enough. If it can be 1 sentence, 1 idea, 1 sentence, 1 idea. Make it short, sweet, to the point. Use white space to your advantage. Again, personalize it. Make this about them. And be conversational, right? Talk in a voice like you would to, if you were emailing them specifically directly to them, that's the email communication type you want. And because there's going to be a purpose behind your newsletters, you want a call to action, right? So you only want one call to action. Again, we're keeping it simple. Only one ask. When you ask for more than one thing, you get nothing. So just ask for one thing, whatever it is. And also answer, why should I? And that should always be because, right? Why should I click to view your page? Well, you need to answer that, right before the call to action or somehow within the call to action. Don't propose on the first date. Don't sell your item in your email. Get them to click the button to go to the page that sells the item. Think about it. If you're going to the bar, you're single, you walk up to somebody, attractive, and they turn around and they see you and you're like, hey, want to get married? Yeah, you're probably going to get slapped, right? It doesn't work out. You can't jump the gun. Right? Buy a drink first. Introduce yourself, right? Don't propose on the first date. We need to be able to get them from the email to either, if the call to action is to reply, which is a little more simple to do, or clicking a button. All they need to do is, why should I get to that next step? Not why should I be taking that end goal, becoming a customer. Why do I need to click on the button? Urgency, act now. Why should they be doing this? Why now? Why can't I just save this later, this email till next month, so it can be a point where I can just forget about it? No, you've got something going on Friday. You need to see this. This is important. This is about you. We're helping you out. There's urgency. We talked about personalization before. I'm going to go a little bit into depth with that one. Again, personalization. When you personalize an email, it doesn't necessarily mean use their name. We don't always have the names of the people in our newsletters. It'd be good if we did, but we don't always have that. So name could be location. If you serve a local area, a county, if you're a local service business. Timely. What's going on seasonally? Make the newsletter about a current event or what's happening that month. That goes into timely. I think it's audience segmentation. So how can you split your audience up to have personalization where you know a little bit about them? That can be vitally important. For us as a marketing company, I'm not going to be sending email communications and marketing tips to somebody who offers janitorial services and then send the same marketing tip and speak in the same manner to somebody who is a lawyer. The two don't, the communication with both is vastly different. How we communicate and how we articulate our offer is going to be completely different. So now I want to get more into those AI prompts to kind of help you out to create those newsletters. So we're going to look at 3 AI prompts. The first one necessarily doesn't really have to do with newsletters. I thought it was important to throw this one in because AI is really good at this, and that's called sentiment analysis. When we look at sentiment analysis, it just pretty much means what I'm saying. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? Am I coming off in a way that I don't want to come off? So imagine if a customer, they email you or they email me and they're upset for one reason or another, and I want to email them back, and maybe I'm not the smartest of person in a reply, and I don't really understand that I shouldn't be saying this to somebody and say, hey, I got your note, stuff happens, we're not perfect, I'll check it out, no promises. Man. Yeah, you're going to lose a customer, you're going to get a bad review, the people are going to be trash talking you on Facebook. So let's avoid this. We can use sentiment analysis just to check ourselves, and it's really good to do. If you're in the heat of the moment, sometimes we don't realize if we're replying to a negative email that we are being negative in return, and we don't really mean to. Things can be really miscommunicated in the written word. We want to avoid that. So we're going to use an AI prompt, and it's going to say, analyze the sentiment of the following email. If the email is negative, rewrite it to be positive. Then you can just paste what your response would be. And it will do that. I'm not going to show you what the response is, but it's going to look at this and say, hey, this is negative. Here's the nice way of saying this so you don't look like a jerk. So that's the sentiment analysis. I wanted to throw it in there. Let's move on to the newsletters and kind of making you some more money. So with the AI prompt, we're going to go back again to that big header that I said that we use a lot. I'm just going to put it up here just to show we're going to be reusing this information again. We're going to be using this instead of to come up with ideas, now to come up with or ideas on how to grow your audience. Now it's going to be ideas for your newsletter, some topics. We're going to use a prompt and say, hey, again, an email marketing expert, and give us some ideas, right, that fulfill the purpose for the newsletter purpose for the audience. Include seasons, major holidays, craft email newsletters that have to do and that are influenced by these seasons and holidays. Here's the longish prompt, I guess, 1 paragraph, not too bad. Again, don't need to screen capture these. You put in prompts in the chat. We're going to send you out all these prompts. In fact, I have a list of 100 of my favorite prompts. If you put prompts into the chat and you really want these AI prompts, put it in there. I'll send you that as well, along with these. That way you're good to go for AI prompts for most of your marketing. Anyways, I want to point out that we're using, again, I highlighted the role, the job, and the musts. Like here's your rules. Here's what you must do. Using this framework gets good responses from AI. And our response, I'm not going to go through the whole response. My goodness, if you look at it on the left, they gave every month all the way down the line through December, January through December, and they gave us a subject line. They gave us the summary. I picked out 3 of them just to highlight. April, tax season. I wouldn't even think of doing a tax season thing having to do with marketing, but it's seasonal. It was instructed to look at the seasonality and holidays and what's going on. So it does that. September, November, again, Thanksgiving, September, holiday push. It gives ideas of what you can be doing with your newsletter. Then here is a longer prompt. Again, going to send it over. We're going to give it a lot more rules on how to create the actual newsletter based on one of these. In this case, as you see the bottom there in green, I said, write a newsletter for April and don't preface your output. So we're going to be looking at April's newsletter. We're going to be plugging in this prompt. And again, it's going to give us this newsletter that we can use. It does follow our rules of being short and concise, timely, personalized, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I would change this a little bit. Somebody just noticed my chat is disabled. Put it in Q&A. I don't know why chat's disabled. We're going to fix that with the next one. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. So yeah, put it into the Q&A. We know it's not a question. We know you just put in prompts. We'll send it to you. So always proofread and edit your outputs. These are not perfect. These are not go-to-market things. These outputs are for ideas to brainstorm. Think of it as your first draft. Go in and say, hey, how can I make this more personal? Instead of, hey, friends, I would say, hi, and then put in their first name, right? And I can go throughout this whole thing, not going to, but you get the point. We use this as your rough draft. Then, now that we have the newsletter, we need a subject line. Same thing. We're going to look at, here's your job, here's your role, here's the rules. Same framework. We're just changing it up a bit. Again, we're adding in, here's the target audience. So we don't have to rewrite everything all over again. It's shortcuts to AI pretty much. And we ask for the subject lines. In this instance, when I do subject lines, I don't want one. Give me 10. Right? Give me 10 of them. I can choose. I can mix and match, play Mr. Potato Head, and put together whatever I want. Here's the 10 it gives me. Right? It gives me a mixture of adding the name, not adding the name, all that good stuff. So that's going to be super beneficial, these prompts, in creating your newsletters. It's going to really almost make it for you. Next, we look at measuring success. How do we know our newsletters are successful? We want to look at 3 things, 3 metrics. 1, your open rate. 2, your click rate. 3, your conversion rate. There may not always be a conversion ask. I think there should be in most. And sometimes your conversion can be reply and ask me. Reply to this email and ask me, blah, 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 blah. That could be the prompt. In that case, measuring conversion rate, you can't really do that. But open rate and click rate, absolutely you can. What we use is Lead Dynamics. It's a software that we have, we own. This is our software. It's kind of the multi-tool, Swiss Army knife of marketing. There's an email marketing section within this tool. So instead of going over all the different email marketing software out there, I'm obviously just going to choose ours. So going to the campaigns, and we look at the statistics. A lot of different companies, email marketing companies, MailChimp and things like that, they have these statistics. Ours has really good stats. So that's what I use. Tells me, hey, here's one blast that I did. I can see that the open rate, like they either open it or they're not going to open it day one. That's what that tells me in these metrics right now. 100% success rate. Over half the people opened it. That's a great opening rate. 13% of the people clicked on one of the links that I had in there. Again, conversion. This wasn't a conversion email, so I wasn't selling anything. And then result wasn't selling anything. So obviously conversion rate is 0. But then one thing I really like about this software is that we can get really granular and we look at specifically who opened, who clicked if we were selling something, who ordered, who replied, right? This helps me really look at the singular communication that should be taking place. If I see that somebody clicked, but they didn't order, or they clicked, I can have my salespeople reach out to them. Say, hey, notice you were interested in X, Y, and Z. Are there any questions I can answer for you? It's great customer service, and you will find yourself being able to have reasons to communicate more often with leads, with clients, to stay top of mind and to close more business in the future. It's about creating communication and furthering relationships. That's the point of email marketing. That's the same with any communication. All you want to do is have a conversation and build a relationship, and this helps you do that. So we need to look at how you're going to optimize campaigns. Now that we've gone all the way down this journey, we're sending emails out, we've got our newsletters, people are getting them, they're opening them. How do we optimize? Test everything. right? We'll test your subject line. Should you use your brand name? Should you not use your brand name? What format should you use? Maybe I'm saying sentence case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe use all uppercase. Different industries have different things that they should test, or different outcomes for these tests as well. So here's a few of the tests. Body length. So long format, short format, different audiences will respond differently. Content. Can you be a little more technical with your audience? Some cases, yes. Business to business, a lot of times you can be. If you're business to consumer, you probably don't want to be. But again, test it out. You don't know until you test. Test the different topics. What are they interested in? This can really help you refine your offer. If I'm sitting there sending out newsletters about search engine optimization and Google paid ads, and I'm getting really low rates, and I start talking about social media marketing, and I'm getting really high open rates, really high click rates, higher engagement, I can know maybe I need to shift a lot of the focus of my business over to be more about social media, because my ideal client, my target market, that is what they're interested in. So I need to be making that change as a business. And again, testing your offers, testing your call to actions. Test everything. That's the rule of the day. Optimize everything, test everything, but make sure that you have the metrics to be able to get the right answers. And when you are testing, you want to have purposeful testing. Test with it. Don't just say, should I use a green button or a red button? That's not really going to give you a lot of good information. I'm always telling people to dive deep, get deeper, learn about your customers. And that's what we're going to do with our testing. We're going to use a framework. It's going to create a hypothesis for each test. If, by, then, because. Let's see it in action. If I increase my brand recognition by adding my company name to the subject line, then the open rate will increase, because this is our learning. This is what we learn about our client. When we say because my recipient, they recognize my brand as a trusted sender and perceive my emails to be of value. That's a lot to be able to learn about your email list. How trustworthy is your brand? How much of great of a brand recognition do you really carry in your marketplace, in your own newsletter? Remember, they've signed up for your newsletter, so they know a little bit about you, but how much of an impact are you really making? Have this test. Now you'll know. With all those things that you can test, you can be applying this framework, the hypothesis framework of if, by, then, because. And you should have a hypothesis for both ends of this, right? What if the opposite happens, right? The question you could say, instead of if I increase my brand recognition, say if I remove branding by or if I decrease brand recognition by removing my company name from the subject line, then my open rate will increase, because my brand is less recognizable and less valuable than the topics I cover. You're still learning something on both ends of this. So create two hypotheses, one for each version. Another side note, within that lead dynamics, we do A/B testing. So you can send out to your newsletter half of them saying one subject line, half of them saying another subject line, or half having one piece of content, the other half having another piece of content. So that's something really good that you want to do in your testing. I know we have a couple minutes left. I talk fast, so I want to open it up and see if anybody has any questions. And thank you. Appreciate you all coming into this and learning with me. We do have another webinar coming up on April 25th. The topic is of local SEO. And yeah, so hopefully we will see you there. We'll send out an email with an invite once that one is ready to go. We usually send those out a couple of weeks in advance. I have Masha looking over the chats. Do you want to unmute and see if there are any questions?
Yes, so I do have some questions. Let me start with, what is the best day and time to send out an email?
The easy answer, that depends. It's one of those things to test. Technically, like by the book, Tuesdays and Thursdays earlier in the day before noon is generally when you can be sending out newsletters, because they're people that if you've already done business and you're re-engaging with somebody, that's that time. That time will move around depending on who's in your newsletter, your industry and your audience. So test it. Definitely a great question.
I got another one. For businesses that have different customers or different services, how do you customize AI prompts to address that?
You have to create a different prompt for each one. So you have that each one of those headers that I showed with the variables, you need to separate that into a different, it's a whole different process. You want to be talking to one audience one way, another audience the other way. The offer would change, what you're, how you're articulating that offer changes. So you want to, that's where we go into audience segmentation, and you create a different group, and every segment has a different way to communicate. And because of that, we want to have a different prompt that addresses who that different segment is. That audience segment becomes your new target audience. And I would create this for each segment that you generate. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? I know
Yeah.
we're a little bit over time.
I have one more question, and it
Okay.
is, how often should a business send out their newsletters?
Usually monthly. I like to do monthly. If you have a business that is very, very engaged with your clients, a lot of time that can be, if it's trending e-commerce, then that can be more often. That can be weekly. That can be, as often as that. I know a lot of the reseller pages on Facebook, they have newsletters. They will send out weekly through text message and email. Same thing. My wife, she likes purses. She buys purses. There's some people that they make custom purses, and they're sending out emails all the time, and they're always communicating with their audience. Again, another great thing to test out. Personally, I go with monthly. I will test out a higher frequency and see if there's um, any negative effects in people opting out more often. But I err towards the side of monthly, and then we'll increase it and then back off.